I would do then is make you more of the face and kind of push him out, just because it may not hurt you, but I definitely don't think it helps you, to be frank.
I get that.
All I'm doing is I'm doing the same stuff. This is the worst, most inefficient way to get leads, but it's free. So this is door-to-door sales. This is as it gets.
Yeah.
By the way, you look fat, like these, it's
Yeah.
harder. Now, this is how you guys can see how Elite CEOs run. So already, that's way faster pace than you've been doing on Facebook.
Really, since Tanner's been back, it's been a whole different ballgame, and it's been amazing. We're Robin.
And Ken hates.
And our business is Trifecta Training with Robin and Ken Yates. We are online personal trainers and fitness coaches, and we help with nutrition counseling as well.
I mean, I'll start with kind of my little backstory. I struggled with weight for years. I was always the fat guy and all this stuff. And I've tried all the different programs, all these different things. And then, I was told by my doctors I wasn't going to make it to the age of 50. I was going to die because I had blood pressure, cholesterol, all this stuff, and stress. And I was over 300 pounds. I was like 330. I didn't know what to do. And then I met her. We went on our first date in 2022 on Super Bowl Sunday. And it was just the most raw. I said, "What brought you to Mobile?" And she just threw up everything that she had in her life, and I threw up everything that I had going on in my life, and it was just a connection that we had.
I knew that I wanted to start a business, start the online, but I didn't know how, and I didn't know where to go from there, right? So you hire a marketing person, branding person, website person, you could spend money this way, or we could hire Tanner to help walk us through, because he's a fit pro, he's a business entrepreneur, he helps guide. Really, since Tanner's been back, it's been a whole different ballgame, and it's been amazing. How are you?
So nice to meet you in person. Where'd you come from?
Yeah, Destin.
Hey,
Destin area up in Florida.
Not too far, right?
No,
Well, 10 hours drive.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Tell me where you guys are at in the business, where it's the numbers at, et cetera. And then once I kind of have the picture, then we can start diving into problems.
Okay. Well, we're brand new. Okay, so.
And you guys came from the gym world, right?
Right. Yeah. So I've been online. I've been in a big corporate Lifetime Fitness in Chicago for 12 years. I have BB Pro, so I've trained, women, men, teams of people.
Getting to that level is no easy feat. For sure.
Right. So, we moved to St. Pete first, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to work in the gym anymore. I want to be able to reach more people, right? Yeah. But getting into and learning the online world was something so.
Hey, did you guys do the same thing?
Different.
Were you guys working together, like in person in the gym as well?
No,
or were you doing something different?
No, I was doing something
completely different.
Like, I have a 9-to-5 right now job, and I
still while you guys are still doing this, and then the goal. I'm assuming the goal is to get out of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
cool.
That would be the long-term goal.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Have both of us do it. So when we started Mastermind, it was just her. Like,
oh wow,
we just signed just her.
Okay, and then you came in later.
I still have my other job, and I didn't want to get fired.
Yeah.
So I was like,
that would be.
So let's start this with you. And had I known what she was going to encounter,
you might have started done.
I would have done it with her.
Yeah. It was just a lot.
It was a lot.
It's a big transition when you haven't done it. I even tell people my journey was so I was living at my parents' house mostly, and I was working part-time, and then I had that mentor, and for 2 years, he taught me, so the stuff you guys would recognize, Elite 360. He showed me the whole system, and emails and all that stuff, and I wasn't making any money, so I had a lot of time to learn how to build these websites. So when I actually got to your phase, I had all this prior knowledge.
Right.
And so when people come in, it's a lot at once, because it's like this avalanche in 30 days. So I can understand, especially if it's not something you've done.
Right.
You didn't grow up with it. My dad even made jokes. He goes, the job you had didn't exist.
Yeah.
And he's like, when I was your age, I couldn't have done that.
Right.
So we're trying to do everything, learn Elite 360, do this. I was like, holy crap. I'm like, no. And I'm like in tears.
I'm only laughing because I know exactly where your brain was at.
a coach and he's great, except he's more like on a higher level. They only had, and I was like, oh my God.
And just like break it down for me. So just because I want to have context, when you say higher level, what did you feel you needed more help with, and what did you feel like you were getting?
I felt like he's a better coach for more established people.
Got you. Okay. So not like so beginner.
Right.
Okay.
And, he's telling us to work on Instagram, make it unified. You know what? And then we're watching your YouTube. You know what? At the time, freaking just DM people. Who cares about context? So we're like trying to do what he's saying, trying to do this, trying to do Elite 360. Right now, it's like what's not, something's not working right now for us.
Sure.
Right? Do we go back to the basics and do we just start freaking DMing all this? Because we're working on content, but we're still getting the same people that are liking it. Yeah.
Which then ends up feeling like a waste of time.
Right. So why are we doing this?
Why are we even doing this? 100%.
Right?
So I think if we put our day in a nutshell, especially for her, we're doing just a fraction of every little part of the business.
Yeah, like walk me through your day. So, actually keep going. Do you have more?
Yeah.
Because I want to make sure I don't cut you off. Do you have more you want to go into?
No, I just feel like if, you had been there and just be like, you guys don't worry about this. Don't worry about content. Why worry about this and put our time and energy into it if we should be doing DMs?
Yeah, I'd say the most frustrating thing for me is, what sucks it sucks for you guys, and I apologize, but the most frustrating thing for me as the business owner is as you get bigger and bigger and bigger and you get farther and farther from the ground floor, it's almost like the game telephone where it goes around the room, and by the time it gets to the 8th person, that person is doing it a little bit different. Then it causes confusion, because if you're getting a different message than your coach is, that's a problem. And it doesn't matter if it's correct or wrong. The problem is you're I'm here for coaching and now I'm seeing 2 different things. So what do I do? And then if you don't have contact with the other coach, which would be me, it's a problem. Let's talk about where the business is at now, like revenue wise, where you guys are trying to get to. And then what I'd like to do is audit your day.
Well, from April till now, we've made what, 22,000.
Okay, so 22,000 total. So you guys are still like
maybe like
2,000
a
month. We're not doing much. Okay, 2,000. We'll just say 2,000 a month. So very part time, right?
Yeah.
You're doing it, but you're in it full time, and then Okay, great. Okay, so the goal is to get this to where would we like to get it?
Well, we like to get at least a good 10K per month.
So
we have higher goals, but right now let's get.
So, for example, that deal you guys had on the phone the other day, that's not a common occurrence. That's rare for you guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was probably felt really good, because I think that deal was even more than that, wasn't it?
Well,
it was 3,000.
3,000 for 6 months.
Yeah. So
that was like.
That felt great.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was also a warm lead. It wasn't a cold DM.
Got you.
Right?
Okay, cool. So we'll get through that. Great. Okay. First off, I want to give you guys kudos for being persistent, because you're going through the toughest time you'll ever have in the business right now. Right. So if you're feeling like this sucks, that's normal, because you guys are here and everything, like between where you guys want to go, it's all this and it only gets better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the hardest part right now is, can you keep pushing through this until this stops? Because it's almost, I look at, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but when they're like the treasure, and this guy gets here and then he turns back around and this guy like hits it. You guys are like right at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's just really pushing through till the end, till you hit the gold. So I want to give you guys kudos, because I've been there and I know how hard it is. I made $2,000 for 2 years. So it's, the good news is, like, even when you guys see this, you can go, wow, we've actually made more than Tanner has in his first 2 years. My first 2 years was horrible. It was horrible. Yeah. Okay. So 2,000 a month, we want to get to 10K a month. What's your day look like? And I guess let's start with you, because Ken's at work. So let's start with like what your day is, and you're at work and then you kind of help where you can, right? Yeah. Okay. So let's start with you. Like, what does your day look like?
Okay. We're at the gym. What time will we get there?
5:15. That's how you spell it, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And that's like you train, right?
Yeah. 5 to 7.
Okay. Train gym. Okay.
Yep. Okay. So we get home 7:15. I'm putting content out till probably about 8.
Okay. So 7 to 8, let's say content.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's like IG or like Facebook post, both?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. IG, Facebook. Okay.
And then I would say starting at 8 till probably about noon. Getting into Facebook groups. So that's why we feel like we've kind of.
So just so I'm clear, because I just want to audit it. For 4 hours, you're trying to join groups.
No, I'm trying to look at and trying to message people.
Okay, so you're messaging people.
Yeah, messaging people.
Okay. Do you, just so I can break this down a little further, how many people do you think you actually send a message to per hour? So if I audited your time in 4 hours, how many combos do you think you've started?
I would say maybe 30.
30 an hour.
No, 30 total.
Okay, so if we're doing 4 hours, we're doing about, what is that, 8 an hour, give or take? So let's just say 7 to 8 an hour. Okay? All right, what's after 12? And you can count lunches, breaks. Like, I always tell my team, like when I'm auditing them, if you tell me anything that's not true, it will hurt you.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing is just be as transparent as you can, because that's how I can figure out what's the issue.
Well, really, okay, I'm going to say 12 to, let's say 1, it's going to be messaging and our Zoom calls, right? Zoom meetings.
Zoom calls with like clients?
No, with you guys, with, you know.
Lead COs,
Zoom
calls. Yeah. And then, like we say, messaging, like responding to messages.
Responding to messaging, messaging that way. So usually about 1 to 2, it's like, okay, you know what? We need a mental break.
Real quick in here. So 1 to 2 is your break. In here, are you only starting messaging? Or are you also responding?
I'm looking right now because like I said, I'm in Facebook, I'm in groups. There's, you know, we've kind of like tapped out of it. All right.
Okay.
Then we'll take a break, and then 2 to 3 is usually when we get back to, all right, what can we do? Can we work on lead magnets? Can we work on something other than, you know, something towards
something just towards like, other than messaging, something to try to find more followers,
you know, or it's maybe making a couple videos,
like
or making
stories, something that will, like, you guys can put out. So almost like content in the sense of like, or maybe. So I'm even thinking maybe when I see this, like 2-step type material,
right?
Or something like that.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something other than messaging.
Yeah.
And then we'll get back to messaging.
Okay. Like, so what's after 3?
I would say 3 to 5. Get in more groups and start messaging some more.
Okay. So groups, and then what's after 5?
I'd say 5 to 6. We eat dinner.
Okay, dinner, and then what do you do after that? Is that pretty much it? You got more?
No, usually, we're either working from 7 to either 6 to 7 or 6 to 8.
Depending on what we got going on, like we may be making content for the next day, or trying to figure out.
And the content you guys are making is just on your organic social media, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's always something for the business, whether it be, you know, client fulfillment, whether it be reaching, you know, it's always, that's why I feel like, that's what I said. I'm like, I feel like I'm so scattered and I'm doing this, that, and the other, but I'm not hitting what I need to be doing.
Yeah, you're not getting the numbers you need to get.
Right.
Okay, great. All right, so
that's one thing that Heather C's been working with her on, and really trying to figure out your time. And
yeah, because you got to audit your time, because if you're not getting results, it's either something is going wrong or you're spending your time on the wrong thing, right?
Yeah,
it's got to be one of the two. So where do you post the content? Is it on both your pages? Is it one of your pages? And then, so when I see this type of stuff, you're saying, hey, we're posting content. Is it your IG? It's your Facebook? Is that where it's going?
It's going, well.
So we have a business Facebook page.
Okay.
And then, but most of the time, because Robin has more followers than our business Facebook page, we put everything on hers.
Yeah. You could double post it. It doesn't matter. Like, you don't need to make new content. The business Facebook page is mostly when you guys run ads. That's really like my business Facebook page. The sole purpose is to run ads. That's it. We do post content on it, but Facebook pages get hardly any reach unless it's super viral, and this just shouldn't really be a priority. So that's totally fine. So if you have a personal page and a business page, if you want, you can post it on both, but that's about it. I want to try to make like different content or something.
Right.
Okay. So what is your personal page? What does your personal Facebook page have in terms of followers? And then are we using you? Are you the face of the brand and then you're behind the scenes? Or are you both the face? Like, how do you guys
The
present
thing
yourselves?
is, like, I was the face of the brand because that's what we were told. And I was the first one who came in,
Meaning what?
right?
So just be super, when you say you were told that, meaning the coach said you would be better to be the face?
Yeah.
And why did they say that?
We don't know.
Okay. But I'm assuming just because you
Probably came into it first.
But who's your clientele? Who do you target? Is it women?
We target men and women.
Men. So you do both.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So, okay. Finish your thought before I say anything.
So we were just told that one person should do it, be the face, and so I got more followers, and we hadn't even started the business Trifecta Training yet. So it was like we were doing everything we needed to do in Mastermind, and then we actually branded the business and took that. So that's why the business page doesn't have as many followers as my Facebook page, right?
Do you guys know? Do you guys know them? Mm-mm. Okay, look them up. They've been in our program for years. Like I'm talking like 3 or 4 years. They're a couple. The way they do it is actually a lot of times their photos will be like together. They'll have like photos together, and mostly the face because she's the girl. You'll have to double check, but they're a married couple and they've been doing it together for years. That might be a good resource for you. There's also other married couples in the group, so I think if you guys could do it, like, hey, is there any other married couples in the group? I don't know them all off the top of my head, but I think if you guys can watch more of how they're doing it, it's better. Now, here's the deal. Typically, on average, this could change, but typically males are going to work with males more often than not. So I'm gonna say 80% of the time. Females are kind of open to work with either, but I'd still say if there's like gun to my head, they're more likely to work with women. So if you guys are working with both, then the goal is like typically not to confuse people or make it harder. So for example, if I'm a woman and I see an ad, because this is like when we do ads, if I see an ad like this and it's a woman, then I'm more likely to click on it than a guy. That's usually how it works. That's why in Elite CEOs, you'll even see it's like 70-30 or 75-25 men to women ratio because I'm a guy. So I'm just going to attract more guys, and I talk like a guy, and I move like a guy, and I think like it. So you'll even notice that a lot of the women in Elite CEOs, they think more the way I think. They're not. I would say not in a bad way. They're just not quite as maybe emotional. Girls that don't like to work with me, they're like, Tanner's too logical, and he doesn't fit my energy flow, and you're going to see that stuff. Which it's just me being me. In terms of what you're posting, keep in mind. I think for you, keep in mind what I see on average, typically, is that women will attract more women. Now, there's a girl in our group. You guys can look at her too. I think it's like this. She's in our group right now. She goes after guys. Now, as far as I'm aware, she has OnlyFans type content. So she attracts a lot of men. So I think her thought process is, well, if I'm already attracting all these men for OnlyFans, I can turn them into customers. But what she deals with is constant, hey, I want to do this to you. I want to do that to you. So a lot of her initial messages when she sends out an initial message is, hey, I understand if you do like this, but I want to keep it professional. So she's having to do, in my opinion, a lot of work to get those guys into clients because most of those clients don't actually want to get help. They just want to hook up, right? So that's usually the downside I've seen with women. So the reason I'm bringing this up is if you guys are working with men and women, I think a man, on average, not all men, but I think a man, if he goes, hey, can I work with him or you, they're more likely to work with the guy. And so when you guys are saying you're targeting both, I think that might be the first issue. And I said that same thing. They go after girls. And so I said, you can help. And I think you can be in photos, but I think if you're the face and he's not, I mean, if you guys see, was like the 6'5" beast. I mean, he's huge. He's jacked. And I'm just like, dude, you're going to scare these little girls off. So I think what you guys need to decide is kind of who you guys want to target, because when you're trying to target both, but you're the face, I think guys are a little more versatile. I can see guys get girls and boys because, I just see that more relevant than the other way around. So let me get a couple more stats. Your IG page and your personal page, how many followers do you have on these two?
Personal, 1.4.
Okay, 1.4. So that's your Facebook? Okay, and this is just, if I go look at it, it's your face. Okay?
No, it's both of us.
It's both of you?
Yes.
Okay, so when I look at y'all's stuff, you guys are both in it? Okay, and then what about this one?
I want to say 700.
700. Okay, so they're pretty small.
Yeah.
Let's talk through this real quick, and then we'll go through a couple things. So you guys can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Like I said, on average, what I'll see is if a woman is the face, it's better to go after women. If the man is the face, you can be versatile. But you'll still get more men, right? It's just normal.
Yeah.
The reason there's more men in elite CEOs is not because we necessarily want more men. We just will attract. I'm a white man. Like I'm gonna get. So usually, what happens in a business is you get a lot of who's the face. So if you look at like, he's gonna get a lot of. I mean, his audience is all dudes.
Yeah.
If you look at her audience is all girls. Right? It's just that's kind of how it works.
Yeah.
So if you guys are going to do this front together, you can, but it's up to you. For example, Ken, you could work in the business but be completely behind the scenes if you'd like. It could be vice versa. You could work in the business but be completely behind the scenes. It seems to me, and again, this is your business, but it seems to me that not only do you seem like you want to be the face, but you seem to kind of have the aptitude for that. You seem to kind of be more, I don't know. You just seem to me like that's kind of more your jam. Like you seem to me like you wouldn't mind being behind the scenes. I don't know if that's correct or
Ken
not.
does a lot, and he's good with the content. He's good with computer stuff, and I feel like that's where we do work together well together because I can. I mean, he's good. He's good too. It's I'm more kind of like. I don't want to say the aggressor, but the aggressor, and he's kind of like
and I said that to you guys. I kind of said that to you guys on the sales call.
And that's like even what we were talking about on the way down here. Even on sales calls, that's one thing we like about having both.
It's like good cop, bad cop. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, it's like when she gets a little too excited, I got to reel her in.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. So, how many clients have you guys had so far? And then what are they, male or women?
Right now, we probably have about 12.
Okay, out of 12 clients, how many have you are girls and boys? Sorry, girls
most of them are girls.
Most of them.
How many?
We only have one man now.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was the one we just signed up.
Okay, so out of all the clients you've had, were these all referrals? Were they people who knew you? Were they like
most of them?
Two were referrals.
Most
we
of
only
them.
had 2 cold sales.
Okay, and where the referrals come from? Like, are they coming from your side?
Yeah, family, friends.
Okay, so let's just say like mostly girls, 2 boys. Okay. So I think you guys really need to decide first and foremost is who do you guys really want to target? If you want to target women, you need to be the face. I just seen it work better. Yeah. You guys can do whatever it is you want to do, but if, for example, if you're getting this type of ratio, maybe you only target women and you guys only go that direction. But it's got to be something you guys want to do.
Yeah.
In terms of that, why does that matter? Well, when I'm posting content, if I'm only posting content for women, it's going to be completely different than if I'm posting content for men. It can give you a little bit of an edge because you're more niched down, right? So a woman will go, oh, well, she really understands me, and this and that. A lot of the content I would post, it was for both, right? I worked with men and women, so I wouldn't really focus on specific stuff like menstrual cycles or periods or whatever. I just would focus on, hey, have you done a bunch of diets? They haven't worked and this and that. But again, I think it's easier for men to go after both than it is for women. You guys first have to decide, do we both want to have social medias? So for example, if you're doing all this per day, I know Ken can't do it right now, but in an ideal world, if you had your social media and his social media, and let's say you guys went after girls, then for your picture, I would only have you.
Yeah.
For his picture, I'd have both.
Okay.
If you guys were going after guys, for example, for his picture, I might only have him, and then for your picture, I'd have both. Like, because whatever demographic you're trying to target, I think it's important that the avatar, like in your picture, you have that represented. Robin, it seems like right now you're the face. Well, at least, like all this is stemming from you. You don't really use yours, is that correct?
I mean, I just post stuff on there, but I don't.
You're not really doing it as heavy. So realistic
Groups that I go into that she's gotten kicked out of that I'm in, so I go in there and start.
Interesting. Okay, so realistically, I think it just depends how you guys want to run the business. If right now you're kind of running it full time and he has to be at work, then what I would probably recommend you do is go mostly after women because you're a woman, and I just think that makes the most sense. Now, if you get men along the way, great. Yeah. But just realistically, I'm just telling you from a guy's perspective. If I saw your profile and I saw both of you, I'm personally as a guy less likely to do it because it's like I don't know the dynamic and maybe I only want to work with him, and then it's like an awkward conversation. Right. So, if you guys are gonna do it that way,
I mean, I feel like that is I mean, with him saying this, that's really kind of what we are gearing and what we have been gearing towards
Is what?
in our more women, like in our content and menopause.
So then what I would
you
do,
know,
what I
so
would do then,
just randomly, like,
yeah, what I would do then is make you more of the face and kind of push him out, just because I don't see it as a massive benefit. I don't think it may not hurt you, but I definitely don't think it helps you, to be frank, just because if you're going after women. So, but that's a decision you guys have to make. Some of that could have ego in it. Like, it's like, hey, well, I want to be in the picture, whatever you want. But I think realistically, this kind of tells the picture.
My only question was, one thing we promote was you get 2 for the price of 1.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we're on the sales calls and stuff, we like,
Meaning what?
like you get both of us, like, especially when we start talking about, you know, I know you don't like this word, the accountability part.
You're good. You're good. You're good.
You know, like you get both of us. Like if Robin's busy, you got me. You know, and that's one thing we.
Yeah, but understand that they don't actually have to know. Like you guys could run a Facebook ad or Instagram ad, get leads, have a conversation, set up a call, and they wouldn't even know that you guys are a team until that point. Technically, like that could happen because if she's running the ads and she's like, "Hey, are you a woman who da 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 da? I'm an IFBB bodybuilder da da da." They come through, they're talking to her. They think they're talking to her. They get on the call, and then you show up. You're like, "Hey, so yeah, we do this together," but like that's totally fine. I'm just trying to think on the front end. Here's my recommendation because I don't want to confuse you guys. It's your call. Mm-hmm. My recommendation is have a convo with them and then maybe connect with other married couples in the group. I think that's where, hey guys, are there any other married couples in the group that are working on the fitness business together? We have a lot.
got it.
So let's go here. So this, don't worry about this that much. You're just supposed to save content there, okay? Now, let's go to this and this. You guys don't have a lot of followers, okay? So what that means is you have 2 ways to grow. First is, let's get the data. So when you're reaching out to people here, you're doing 7 to 8 an hour. Now, Facebook, and this is only Facebook. Now, let me ask you this question. Is there a reason you've only messaged on Facebook and not Instagram? Do you guys have any reasoning, or is that just what you've done?
Well, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that we're not familiar with Instagram
Yeah,
at all. Like,
no worries. No worries.
So like I've gone in there and tried. First off, when I'm doing it, I'm sitting in front of a PC, not my phone. And
Yeah, man, you gotta get on the PC with the IG.
Yeah. And I get so frustrated with that. I'm doing searches and stuff, but one thing I learned just on the drive down was I was searching all wrong. Like I was not doing hashtag something.
I'll show you guys how to do it. So we'll spend
We
some
were
time
watching your videos. I'm like, okay, well, I don't even think we need to go tomorrow.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. Yeah, you're good. You're good. So here's the first thing right here. So there's a couple things I want to point out. And again, this goes back to yesterday on the sales call. I was talking about the business acumen. The more you understand the business and how it works, the more you'll get it. So first off, something about Facebook groups to know, they get hammered.
Yeah.
Facebook groups get hammered because think about it. If you're in all these groups, right? And you're doing the outreach method, guess what? There's other trainers out there doing the same.
I'm like,
So
that's why we feel like I'm done. I'm tapped out of Facebook groups. I'm over it. So like, okay, we need to break through. That was one of those.
I don't know how many.
Yeah. So here's why. The first thing is that was the initial. I've been doing this 6 years. When I was starting, that was a very hot thing to do.
Yeah.
So they've been gotten beaten up for years. So people are ready for it. The other thing is keep in mind, what makes a good business as well is lack of competition. So if I'm the only person on earth who sells cars, I'll make a ton of money.
Right.
As soon as there's other competition, now there's options. So now I have to really be better. So the hard thing here is you're going in all these groups, but there's other trainers in there. So not only are people's guards raised, but they're getting DM'd by other people. So you're technically, whether you think you are or not, you're competing with that.
Yeah.
Okay? Here's the other thing. This is much too slow. So let me give you an example.
Yeah.
You can send on average about 20 to 30 messages per hour.
Yeah, on Instagram.
Yeah, usually on Instagram.
Because I can't do that. It's not that I'm slow messaging.
So
it's slow that I'm looking. I'm like,
so that's where I was going to go. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about. So I knew that. Yeah, you're correct. Meaning, it has to be faster than that. So on IG, I will send a message typically no longer than 2 minutes max, every 2 minutes. So if you think about it, if I can send a message almost every 2 minutes, then I'm going to get a lot more output. For you, if you're sending 7 to 8 an hour and I'm sending, let's just say 25, then I'm sending almost 4 times the amount of messages you are. Well, think about it. If I'm sending 4 times the amount of messages you are, that means in a 4-hour window, I've sent 100 and you've sent like 30. Well, who's going to win? I mean, I should win. Even if I'm terrible, because I'm getting way more messages out than you. So the one thing I don't like about Facebook, to your point, I think it takes too long to find that high quality talent because of the way it works. I'll spend a little time with you guys here on your phone, but the reason I like IG hashtags, and this is the lowest form of getting leads, right? So this is the lowest form of getting leads. This is the worst, most inefficient way to get leads, but it's free. So that's this is door-to-door sales. This is as it gets. What I like about hashtags is if I go to, let's just use a random one. I'll show one. And if I say anything that doesn't make sense, just clarify with me, okay? And I'll make sure I clear it out. So if I go on Instagram and I type in FitMom, hashtag FitMom, we'll do it on your phone in a bit. There'll be like 30 million results. So what happens is you see those 9 pictures, right? So already, if you just think about Facebook versus that, Facebook's like this, right? It's kind of like this list like that. Instagram, the way it's set up, is you'll see 9 different pictures like this, correct? So what's nice is already I can look at 9 people at once versus here, maybe I can only see 3 or 4, right? And then I'm having to scroll a lot, so it's taking longer by default. So I agree, we need to get you guys out of groups. I don't want you guys to do any more groups. I'm actually not a huge fan of Facebook groups. I'm much a bigger fan of this. Now, what's the other reason I'm a fan of this? There's 9 slots, but if there's 30 million posts, I promise you, there's no way they're getting hit up by multiple people, which automatically makes it less competition, which makes you stand out more. Does that make sense? What I like about this is when I go to a hashtag that says fit mom, a couple things. 1, they're into fitness. Check. 2, they're a mom. We want girls. Check. So all I'm looking for is there's going to be 2 types of pictures here. People who are super shredded and people who started their fitness journey and they're proud of themselves. So guess what I'm doing? Here's what's nice about fitness. I will sit there on my phone and I'll show you here. Let me give you guys let's do it on your phone real quick. And then T, what I could do is I'll record their screen and they can send it to you. Here, let me send them to all of you guys. Sorry. Just break you guys up real quick. So just go to your IG. Okay, so let me show you, for example, how I would do this. And if there's anything we see that we're not supposed to, don't worry, because we'll delete it. So what I'm going to do is record. Okay, so check this out. Here's what I would do. So I'll go to Fit Mom. When I type this in, I'm going to go to tags over here. There's 29.4 million posts. I promise you, there's no freaking way you'll send a message that someone else sent a message to. There's no freaking way. There's too many. So I click on this. Now, when you initially see this, now this could be anything. Fit Mom, Fitspo, fitness, whatever. Now, you're going to see 2 things. Now, first off, we see a bunch of fit women. Like, look at this. Let's see. Don't lose hope. Try this if you want to lose weight, but don't, okay? So I don't want that because she's like a fitness coach. So you're going to run into some of that. But the good news here is everyone's interested in fitness, which is what we need. We need them to have some type of interest. Like this girl, we're not reaching out to her. Like obviously not. Like she's freaking in really good shape. And this is just one hashtag. There's a million hashtags. So the reason I like this is you're getting way more people on your feed and you can do it much faster. And I'm scanning for overweight individuals. So let's go here. Let's click. Okay, health, beauty, wife, mom. She's Puerto Rican. Not that that matters. 48K sub. So maybe not her. I mean, some of them too, what I've noticed though, is they'll be into fitness, but they're still open to getting help because they're losing weight. But again, what I want you guys to notice here is we're just quickly trying to
scan.
Yeah, we're trying to scan quickly and then see if we can find some. Okay, so we already saw her, I think. Maybe, I don't know, this. Okay, so personal blog. Let's see if she has a picture of her kids. Okay, perfect. So then I go here. I'm like, kids are, so you guys are having kiddos or no? Okay, I'm scrolling. I don't know, help. I don't know. It's just as you because I was scrolling your page right across the just could it help you compliment. Hope that's maybe I don't say LOL. I'll say hope. I hope that's okay. Okay, like something like this. I don't know. And again, if you mess up, it doesn't matter. So already, that's 7 to 8 an hour. We're already way ahead of that pace.
Right.
Yeah. Right. And these are more qualified people, in my personal opinion. And all we're doing, again, we're just scrolling for individuals who might need our help. So we could come here, personal trainer and weight loss guru. Probably not. No. she says her current weight. Now you could reach out to her because she's still trying to lose weight. But again, if she's like, hey, I'm a personal trainer or weight loss guru, it's probably going to be a harder conversation than we want to deal with. We're trying to get the low hanging fruit, right? People who they're not a coach, they're not saying they're a coach, they're not selling beach body products, whatever. And they're more open to get help. So like we come here, Mama 5 nutrition. Okay. So like, no, we're not going to message her. You kind of see how this is, it gets pretty simplistic. So you're going to see a lot of people. We already saw this girl, I think she's posting videos. These are not her though. So you notice that too. So you see this, that's her.
Yeah.
So that's totally different as well. So she's posting different videos.
Look at her.
Her hair?
Yeah.
Boss, I see. Check manager, book price cover. Yeah, you could do something like that. Now, the only thing we have to look at is like, I'm kind of curious, like where she lives. You know, maybe she lives like in a country it's not as good, but it's usually pretty fast. So you could say, so I'd be like, love seeing heavy weights. Sometimes kudos to you. Sometimes won't make look. Nah, I don't know. you're doing it.
I think you're digging me in a grave right now. All right.
You're doing it right. Sometimes I mean, I don't know.
That one blocked.
that let's say it's hard to see other women that lifting won't make them too big. So you'd be like, you're doing it right. Let's see, you're doing it right. And look great. Like, I don't know, something like that. Yeah. We're just trying to get a response, right? So now we've done 4. So you guys kind of get the point. So already, like, that's way faster pace than you've been doing on Facebook. Now, let's say you go there and you're like, Tanner, I've done that a million times. I don't like it. Okay, so maybe we could do like Fitspo women. Like, this is a different hashtag. We go to hashtags. This one is, there's only 500, so there's not a lot. So maybe this is not a hashtag we want to go on. But again, it's the same thing. So as we scroll out, you see it's like all in shape girls. Like, that's not what we want. Let's do like fit women. Let's do this, tags, see what we got. Say fit women, 2.5 million posts. Perfect. So we'll come here. And again, like what we're trying to do though is we're trying to find out of shape individuals. So we're trying to find hashtags that it's obvious they're into fitness, but if we're finding too many in shape people, that's also not going to be great. So let's go here. Athlete. Okay. So she's a power lifter, so we're not going to deal with that. So the only thing you guys would really want to work on is like try different hashtags and find one that has a higher overweight to in shape ratio, right? Why? Because you see, what's the biggest waste of time we're doing right now? All these in shape people. We're having to scroll through that. But we're finding those diamonds in the roughs. And the good news is they're into fitness. So the combos are easier. It's like, hey, so what are your goals? And they start telling you and they're interested in it. And that's where I think you guys are going to find a little more diamonds in the rough. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was not as efficient as I'd like. The goal should be, in a perfect world, you guys send one message for every 2 minutes of scrolling. Right. The goal also is, notice, I've tried to find something to relate to quickly. It doesn't have to be the perfect first message. Just say something that's typically a compliment that will get a response. Everyone loves compliments. Yeah. Okay? Now, the other thing is also keeping in mind, I want to give you some numbers. So if you guys are not hitting these numbers, you know you're having an issue with your messaging. So we have messaging calls. We have messaging audits, like all that stuff. I don't know how good your guys' messaging is, but let's go through what those numbers should look like. So, do you guys know what the numbers are? Let's start with that.
Knowing the numbers for
messaging. So if you set, let's say this, you said 100 cold DMs. Do you even know how many people you're trying to get to respond typically?
30.
30. That's ideal.
Yeah, that's
now 30 is good. I would say if you're getting at least 15, that's low end, high end, you're okay. Now, if it's closer to 30, what does that tell me? You're setting pretty good first messages, probably. Yeah. If it's closer to this, maybe it could use a little work. Okay? Yeah. The next number should be 5. Usually it's about 5. Okay? If you're over 5, you're crushing it. If you're getting 5, that's pretty good. And then usually we want to close 1. So, in a perfect world, the numbers we're looking for is if I do 5 hours of work, because let's say you do 20 an hour. Okay? So if I do 20 an hour, and then I book 15 to 30, right? And I take 5 sales calls, so that's another 5 hours. for every give or take in a perfect world, 10 hours of work, I'm usually and these 5 calls here are usually going to be 15 minutes, right? So that out of these 15 minutes, you'll set a sales call, et cetera. So let's say out of that, you set 3 sales calls. So it's another 3 hours. So give or take for every about 13 hours of work, if we're following this formula and we're doing it perfect, we should be making a sale. That's at least good to know as a barometer, because obviously we know for a fact, if you've been sending this many messages for this many months, we're definitely not hitting those numbers, right? So I think part of it is this. We got to pick this up. Because if you can pick this number up, based on what you're doing here, if you're doing that in 5 hours of work, you're doing half the work I'm doing, which means this number, guess what? That goes to 26 hours. So you're working just as hard,
right?
But you're getting half the results that you could. And that's assuming you're even hitting these metrics. Now let's look at other stuff. Let's say you're not that good at messaging yet. So let's say this number is not even 10 or 30 or 15 or 30. Maybe it's like 5. It's like horrible. Well, guess what that does to this? Well, then that means you only get 1 set call, which means you probably have to send another 100 messages just to get 1 close, right? So the things you guys are doing that are great. You're showing up to the sales clinics. I don't know if you're going to the messaging clinics. If you are,
I'm pretty good at messaging. I mean, he used to start them, and then I would finish them. And
perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have a question, and I don't know if you know these numbers or not, but do you know on average, like if I was to look at your data for every 100 messages you send, what are your numbers? Because you've had 12 clients, but I'm assuming you've put in way more hours than you've gotten out in terms of clients. So do you know what these numbers are? Do you know what those numbers are?
Not accurately, but I would say if we were to send 100 messages, again, we're on Facebook, so I would say roughly we would get maybe 20.
I would say 20 responses.
Okay. And then out of that, how many calls could you get set up?
1 if we're lucky.
Okay, so right here, and was a 15-minute call or sales call?
Sales call.
So okay, so that's not bad. That's not the worst.
Yeah.
So typically when I put this number here, it could even be, well, I guess that technically is a sales call. So so if you guys are setting up 1 sales call, and then how many sales calls does it take to close?
That's where we get frustrated is we've only had 2 sales calls from messages.
Well, we've had more than 2 from cold DMs, but we just haven't sold them. Yeah.
So how many calls do you guys think, what I'm just trying to do is kind of see if I can see a possible issue and then show you mathematically why I think that's the issue. So you send 100 messages, cold DMs, you get 20 responses, you set up 1 sales call. So here, usually it's 5. Okay, so here's a discrepancy. We have about 4 discrepancy. How many sales calls does it take for you guys? And you guys have only had 2 clients.
I would say 3, and we'll close 1.
We'll close 1. Okay, so that's not bad. So let's look at this already. Just and this is best case scenario. Let's say I'm gonna be generous to you, and I'm gonna say per day you're sending 50 messages. Okay, so if it takes you 100 messages just to get 1 sales call, and you're doing 50 messages a day, then that means on average it's taking you almost a week just to get, with this math, it would take you a week to get 1 close. Now I know that can't be 100% accurate because you guys have only had 2 clients, so it's probably worse. But if you can do a couple things here first, what we talked about is if you go from 50 messages to 100, how can you do that? What I just showed you with IG. So that's going to help a lot. Okay, and then number 2, it sounds like you guys are getting good amounts of responses, but you're not getting a lot of sales calls. So typically, that's going to be a messaging issue, typically. Because if you're not getting as many sales calls, there's something off in the messaging that's turning them off, or you're just sending it to the wrong people. So what I tried to show you there is how you find the people and who's the right look. So hopefully that took care of that. If you guys are still not booking more sales calls from those responses, I want you to spend more time getting your messaging audited and just have someone look at it. If they say it's good, if they say it's good, then great. Don't stress. But if you guys have only had 2 clients, we'll just say 2. If you've only had 2 clients out of the 12, would you say, Robin, like for the last, you said since April, so May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, I mean, about 9 months, have you been doing the same schedule? Has it been pretty consistent?
Not consistently. No.
Okay. Okay, so that's good news because that's where I was starting to get a little worried. I'm like, you guys are putting in a lot of volume, but you're not. Okay, so the first thing is let's have an ideal expectation. What I want you guys to do is first, let me erase this. If we know what it should be, then it's easier to know if we're doing good or not, right? If I don't know what my number should be, it's hard to know if I'm doing good because I don't know what they should be. So what I want you guys to try to focus on is 100 messages on IG, what we just showed you. You get 15 to 30 responses. I'd like it closer to 30. 15's like, you're just good enough, right? But that's not ideal because that's a lot of work. Out of that, you get 5 sales calls. So remember, because if I can get 15 people to respond, it's going to be lower. But let's say I get 30. Out of those 30, if I get X amount of set calls, because you guys usually go to a 15 or straight to a 60?
Usually we go straight to a 60.
Yeah.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, lately I've been throwing out the 15-minute more.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of you going straight to a 60 from a cold DM.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. It's just super hard. It's not business consulting.
Yeah.
It's fitness, and you're reaching out to a stranger. So let's go through that. I think that also might be why your numbers would be low, because if you guys are going straight for a sale, you got to think about it. You're knocking on someone's door. They don't know who you are, and you're like, by the way, I'm a super nice person. Would you like to possibly buy something from me? It's just a huge.
Yeah.
Let's say you get between 7 to 15 set calls. Okay, and then out of that, you get 5 sales calls, and then you close 1, and that's not great. But this should be kind of what you guys are shooting for. Okay. If we know this, and you're not getting it, then it's easy to know what the problem is. If you're not hitting 100, what does that mean? You're taking too long to send a message. If you're not getting 15 to 30 responses, it means your first messages are kind of weird. You saw mine though; they don't have to be that good. Just like compliment gets a response. If you're not getting set calls, that means there's something off in your messaging process. If you're not getting sales calls, that means there's something off with your application. I'll walk you guys through that, and I'll show you some examples as well. I'll actually give you guys the stuff I've done. And then if you're not closing, you guys obviously know it's a sales call. So I think you guys are doing the work, but this needs to be your standard. Okay? I think of cold DMs as door-to-door sales. When I was doing door-to-door sales, I sold a $50 product, and it was a nightmare. I mean, I couldn't imagine selling what you guys are selling.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I know I'm a stranger. You just met me, but it's $3,000. What do you say? It's just a lot. So let's go through kind of the spiel, and then I'll show you how I did it. So first, I would send a message. You guys saw that. So it's usually a compliment. Hey, Robin, I hope this isn't weird to say. You got some cute kids. I'm from a family of 7. Just had to say something. LOL. Make sure it's very text-like. We don't want big paragraphs. It wants to be very informal. So if you guys were texting me and I was trying to sell you, you guys will notice I do a lot of blocks. Like I'll say, Robin, how you doing? Send. So glad you're coming to Miami. Send. Let me know when you get here. Send. Like that, because it makes it seem more friendly. Okay. So I do a compliment. Typically what's going to happen next is they go, oh, thanks so much. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, for sure. And then I go, what do you do for work? Okay. And you guys know this, but I just want to walk you through the full thing. What do you do for work? I do XYZ ABC. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. That's really cool. I usually, the goal here, just so you guys have a framework, is acknowledge and then a question. Okay. So I don't care what she says. I'll have people write a book like this, and I'll go, dude, that's so cool. And then I don't say anything else about it. I mean, they're like, tell me their life story. I don't care. I do not care. So what do you do for work? Oh, I do XYZ. Got it. Does it keep you busy? And they're like, yeah, keeps me busy. You're like, totally get it. And then from here is my transition question, right? So I transition into the sale without them knowing. So I like to think of this as a bar. Also, what will help you guys is when you're texting, pretend you're sitting next to them. I think that makes it so much easier to know what to say. So if I was sitting next to him, like, yeah, so your kids are so cute. Like, I just had to say, I saw the picture sitting there. Like, yeah. And like, yeah, what do you do for work? I'm just curious. Sorry if I'm bothering you. No, you're not bothering me. I do this. I'm like, yeah, does it keep you busy? Like, yeah, it does. I'm like, so does that make it hard to work out? You seem like you might be, are you into fitness? Okay, whatever you want to say. Or you say, yeah, does that make it hard to get to the gym? I have 6 kids too. I totally get it, or whatever I can relate to. I usually use my mom as well as an example. So if you guys don't have kids, I notice a lot with women, they usually do, or most people have kids, right? So I can relate to them with my mom. I usually say, my mom has a family of 7. it was really hard for her to get to the gym. Is it the same for you? I'd always use that with women, okay? So once I say this, like the transition, let's just say, is it hard to work out or whatever? We'll just use that. They might say yes. And I'm like, got it. Yeah. Like, do you have any fitness goals? Right. And they're like, yeah, I'm trying to lose 20 pounds, etc. And I'm like, oh, awesome. Yeah. Like, what are you struggling with the most? I'm struggling with this. Got it. Like, what have you tried before? I've tried a million diets, etc. And then I'm like, okay, yeah, got it. And like, I'm just curious, like, have you ever had a coach? And make sure you're keeping it conversational. Don't get like full sales mode. It's just, I get that. Like, I'm curious, like, have you ever had a coach or anything? Like, make it as if you're not tied to any outcome. You're just curious. Yeah. Right. Childlike curiosity. So have you ever had a coach? And they're like, yeah, I haven't. Then this is why I like the 15, because it's a much easier transition. So I'm like, okay, cool. So this is the transition to 15. So you guys are going to 60. I mean, God bless you guys. That's hard. I mean, it really is, because you're asking for a lot. So what I like to do here is I go, got it. Well, look, like, Robin, I don't know if you care or not. I do this fitness stuff all day long. I'm down to give some suggestions. I just want to make sure you even want them, because I just met you at the bar, you know? You can't even see how that seems normal. If you met someone and they said, like, well, look, I don't know if you know, like, I actually was in the Olympics. I threw the javelin. So I don't know if you care, but like, I could give you some pointers. I just, I don't want to make sure you want them. And then what happens here is almost always they go, yeah, that'd be great. I'm like, cool. Yeah. And then from here, if this doesn't make sense, again, we'll get you guys recordings, etc. It's hard it's like a whole paragraph I want to write. But what I'll do from here is I go, cool. Well, look, instead of typing out I'll do a huge number. I'll just be like, like on a keyboard when you die. I'm like, instead of typing out 7 million more messages, LOL. Yeah. If you got 10 minutes, I can just give you a quick call. Does that work? And a lot of times they're like, yeah. Now, if for whatever reason they don't respond or they leave it on red, I just leave it alone, and I'll follow up later like, by the way, sorry if that was too pushy. I was just genuinely trying to help. Just be cool about it. Right, it's like if you went up to someone and you tried to help them and they're like, F you, it's just like, all right, dude, like, sorry. Yeah. So I'll say, instead of saying, 1,200 messages, if you're cool with it, I can just give you a call in 10 minutes and break it down for you. You got 10 minutes? And then they'll usually be like, yeah. So that person says, yeah. And I go, cool. Here's my number. What's yours? Okay. That's it. So those are older calls. I'm going to sound like a more immature Tanner than I am now, which is hard for some people to believe. but you'll call them, and all I'm doing is I'm doing the same stuff.
That's when you get their email and get their information.
Yeah. Well, not now, but at the end of the call. So then what I do is I go, cool. So like start at the top. What's your goals? You already fucking asked them. Yeah. And they're just like, okay, and they say the whole thing, and you're like, oh, okay. And then I go, what's your struggle? Yeah. And then I'm like, what have you tried? And have you had a coach? And once I get a little bit of stuff, I'm like, all I'm really trying to do is get them to like me, because you just went from a random person on IG, and then they talk to you like, oh, this like she's nice, she's cool, and it's like, yeah. So then I get to the end, I go, cool. So Robin, that is all really helpful. What I'm going to do next is, if you could just text me your email, I'm going to send you over an email in the next hour or so that's going to have more specific questions. Answer those. And then once you answer those, if everything looks good, let's get back on a call, and then I'll have some suggestions and pointers for you. Is that cool? Mm-hmm. So the reason I'm doing this is because it's a way fucking easier transition than you guys going straight from a DM to a sales call with a cold lead. Yeah. That's hard. Now with ads, you guys go, well, Tanner, you do that with ads. Yeah, I know, because they raise their hand. It's totally different. Yeah. If I come to your door and I knock on your door and say, hey guys, like, can you help me? Yeah, right. Totally different than if you knock on my door. Like, by the way, you look fat. Like, you need, it's harder. Yeah. The point of ads is this: you're spending money for it. So if I'm spending money, right? Here's my money signs, and I'm getting people to come to let's just say this is a DM. And then they go to a page and they put in their email and text. It makes sense, if I'm spending money, that I'm going to DM them, and I'm going to text them, and I'm going to email them, and do everything in my power to get them to sign up. Now, here's the thing. You guys aren't doing that right now. So is it helpful? Sure. But is it necessary? No. At the end of the day, we need to get people from a DM to a sales call. So what I don't want you guys doing, I don't want you to think, well, there's no benefit to having a funnel or to get emails and stuff. There is, but if it's stressing you out and you guys are like, I don't know how to do funnels and I have to set up this, and it's like all this, that's like, it's like, don't do it. It's not that big a deal right now, because you're only at $2,000 a month. Yeah. If you guys could just get a couple more sales, let's say 2 more sales a month doing cold, you guys would, holy and your whole world would change. And all of a sudden you go, wow, now we have money for ads and all this other stuff. The way we run ads is we run all our ads to DM usually. or we run our ads to an opt-in page. When I say opt-in page, you guys know it's where you put in your email and phone number.
Right.
If we're running, let's say $10,000 a day, or we actually run more. So let's say we're running 15,000 a day. It would make sense that if we're running them here, that we get some info to try to get some, but for what you guys are doing, if you're DMing someone and then you have to do that whole conversation and then somehow in there be like, oh, by the way, here's this training and watch that. It starts almost making it not only weird, but then you're taking your focus off the main goal, which is like, let's get the sale. Because right now, I'd rather you make 3 sales than get 100 emails. And I know there's benefit to both, but at the end of the day, if we don't make more sales, like we're not going to stay in the business. Like we're going to get burnt out. The next thing is then when we go to boosted posts, basically it's just the IG post and you got the little boost here and you do that. Now, same thing here. Let's figure out the numbers we need. Okay, so what I want you guys to do is typically when we do boosted posts, there's 2 options. Okay, you could do profile visits, right? Or you could do messages. Okay, now this is really important, so make sure you're paying attention to this part. Where you're going to get most of your sales is profile visits. Why? Well, let's go through the metrics. Typically, to get someone on a boosted post, what's the best content to run for a boosted post? What would you guys say? If you could only do one type of content, so you had to post something on Instagram and run a boosted post to it, what would be the best thing you could probably post?
For us.
Okay. More specific, though.
It's probably either a lead magnet or a Five Guys post.
There, Five Guys. I like Five Guys. So if you did a text that says, I'm looking for 5 women who want to da-da-da-da-da. And it's got the big background, like the black text, You know on Facebook, if it's really short, you get the text. Yeah. That's a perfect post for boosted post because if someone's scrolling, it sticks out and it's straight to the point. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Okay. So let's say you had a 5 Guys. So this is your 5 Guys post. Do you guys know what the 5 Guys is? We both know?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I do a boosted post. Now, a boosted post, you guys can do as little spend as you want. But again, if we know what the numbers are, then it's easy to know how much to spend. So do you guys know how much it costs usually to get a profile visit?
I can't remember. I heard it one time and
Okay.
It's like, what, $7 a day?
No, so this right here, it's 10 to 20 cents to get a profile visit. Now, keep in mind, a profile visit doesn't mean anything except they looked at your profile. So that means so if I look at your profile, that's a profile visit. Doesn't mean I clicked on anything.
Yeah.
So typically what you're going to find is for every 10 profile visits, you're going to get 1 follower or comment or something like that. So here's what you're going to do. I'm looking for 5 women who want to lose 20 pounds in the next 4 weeks without giving up donuts. Comment below donuts and we'll send you the details.
Okay.
So you ask them to comment. So usually what's going to happen is out of these profile visits, it costs between 10 cents to 20 cents. So let's say you guys are on the high end. I don't know, because the world hates you. So let's say it's
that way sometimes.
Yeah, I get it. So let's say it costs you $2 per comment. Okay. So if you guys decide to spend $10 a day, then hopefully what we're going to look for, and you guys can see the metrics on your post. So the cool thing is if you're not getting those metrics, you can come ask for help. But let's just say it's high. So let's say you spend $10 a day, so you get 5 comments a day. Well, now what's great is you can go straight for the jugular. So you just reach out and say, hey, saw you commented on my post. What's your goal? You don't have to do any of the your kids are nice and all this other horse shit,
right.
Which is why you guys are getting a little frustrated because not only are you barely messaging anyone, it's massive competition. You're getting kicked out of groups. You're not getting enough volume. And you guys are pushing straight to a 60-minute call. So if we're doing this and you guys go, well, I want to talk to 20 people a day. Okay, well, let's do the math. If it takes me $10 a day to get 5 comments, then I need to spend $40 a day to get 20 comments. If I want to talk to 50, like, you get what I'm saying?
Right,
All of a sudden, what's cool with this is the reason we start with cold DMs is think of it this way. If I could talk to 100 people, 30 respond, I get 5 sales calls and I close 1. And that translates over here. Well, guess what's the cool part? 1, this is harder than this. So usually when you do this, guess what happens? These numbers go up. You get more conversations, you get more sales calls, you make more sales with the same amount of volume. The other thing is now this is how you guys can see how Elite CEOs runs. Because if I know, hey, If I need 100 conversations to make one sale and you're doing boosted posts, for example, we could take the same math and figure that out. So let's just say that's what it takes. So it's like, I need 100 comments. It costs you, remember, it's $2 per comment, right?
Yeah.
So it's $10 to get 5. So let's just do the math. If it's $10 for 5 comments, and let's say it takes 100 comments for you guys to make one sale. Okay, well, let's do the math. What's 100 divided by 5? I think it's 20. So 20 times 10 is going to be $200. Are you guys willing to spend $200 to make a $3,200 sale?
Yes.
I hope so.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, what's going to happen when you guys start doing this is if your messaging and sales calls are good, guess what? All of a sudden, you guys are like, I have a real business. I know that if I spend $1,000 this month, I'm going to make 5 sales because it took me 200. Now that's an average. Sometimes you'll spend $200, you make none, and then the next 200 you make 2, etc. But we're looking for the law of averages in the business, right? That's what your cost of acquisition comes from. That's how I can run elite CEOs. I can go, okay, well, on average, if we're selling a $16,000 program and it costs us $4,000 to get a client, then hypothetically, for every $4,000, we should get a customer. That's helpful to know because it helps you run your business at margins. That's all you guys should be focusing on until you get it to work. Now, if you're like, Tanner, this isn't working, there's only 2 ways it doesn't work. Either A, your cost per profile visit is too high, or B, your messaging is off, or C, your sales is off. That's it. So how would you know? Well, if you guys are tracking to a degree your numbers, we can see the numbers and go, well, you're getting a shitload of messages. That's fine. Your cost is fine. You're getting a lot of responses, but you're not closing anyone. Hey, are you coming to the sales clinic? Did you review? That's how you figure out what's wrong in the business.
Absolutely.
So you do a 5 guys post. I think that's the easiest. It's just text and a color background. You're going to do profile visits. Okay. Choose whatever budget you want. How do you know what budget? How many people do you want to comment a day? And remember, in the 5 guys post, ask them to comment below. Don't send DM you. Don't tell them to DM you. Comments are better.
Okay.
So if you want, let's just do that. Let's say it's $2 to get a comment. Okay. If it's higher than that, talk to your coach, etc. But it's usually 10 cents to 20 cents per profile visit. 10% of those profile visits will convert to a comment. So let's say it's $2. Well, if I want 20 people a day to message or comment, then that would mean I need to spend $40 a day. If you want more, do more.
Right.
Whatever. It could be better, but I like giving terrible numbers so you guys have good expectations. So if that works and you do profile visits, you'll start messaging people. If the quality sucks, guess what you do? Just change the audience. So you're like, hey, we did Apple. That didn't work. What other things do people who have money, who need to get in shape like? I don't know, Rolexes possibly, yachts, expensive whiskeys or something. Like just think, where do you guys see rich people who are out of shape? What do rich people who are out of shape do? Golf? Rich sport? Like think that way. And then just target it and then that's it. So if you guys can go back home, you switch to IG, you do the whole cold DM process that way, do a set call first, and then you guys start spending a little bit of money here, you're good to go. And all you guys do is go, what's the amount of money we're willing to spend on this month? And if we don't make a single sale, we're fine with, and spend that.
Yeah.
Because then you're not stressed out. You're going to learn a shitload.
Yeah.
And then as you guys make more sales, you just reinvest in this process. Once you start making, let's say you get to 10K plus a month, then you can move to the next phase.
Yeah.
Then you move to the next thing.
Right.
But what we need for you guys is 2 things. One, we need to increase this volume.
Yeah.
That's the number one. So three takeaways, right?
Yeah.
Volume needs to go up. We need to do 15-minute calls, right? Instead of a 60.
Yep.
And then we need to start boosted posts. And if you guys do that, you'll get results.
Like on our Instagram, should I, going back to if she's going to be the face, should we change the name and take my name off of it?
No, I mean,
well, it's called Trifecta Training.
Yeah, what about Kennedy's, like our Facebook page?
The only thing I'm hesitant about is I get hesitant to tell people, like, the strategy and tactics is one thing. When it's like your brand, it's kind of, I want you guys to also feel comfortable with it. Yeah. But if you're only going to go after women, I do think that's a better move. But what I would encourage you to do is, one, go with the group and ask about the other couples, and then look at. I would reach out to them and say, hey, we're in Tanner's program. I think that's helpful. But yeah, I mean, going back to what I said, if you're only going to target women, I don't see a massive benefit unless you guys want to go after couples. Now, if you're going after couples, it makes total sense.
Yeah. I guess just not worry too much about the followers or worry about Instagram. Just like, don't worry about any of that.
When you start doing boosted posts, you'll get more followers. Okay. You know, we used to do IG shout outs back in the day, but they're not quite as effective anymore. So that was kind of like our boosted post strategy is you would go to these big pages and you could pay them. I mean, it would cost $1 to $2 to get a follower, but the problem is now they just don't work as effectively because it's just the social media platforms change.
Yeah.
So we're gonna start doing boosted posts. Yeah. And you guys just stay in that pocket and just stay there until it gets working. And then once you guys start making consistent sales, your confidence goes up. You're gonna feel better. And then you're like, hey, can we do this? Can we do that? But there's really no other reason. But the good news is, you know, if you guys had come here and said we're doing all that and we're only making $2,000 a month, then I'd be concerned. Right. Because I would say there's a massive disconnect between your messaging and sales calls. So that's a skill issue. Right. All right. He's gonna do whatever he does, and then I'll come back out. We can take pictures, whatever you guys want. There's no pressure to take pictures, by the way. I don't think of myself that highly. And,
this is exactly what we needed to like our first step to go back home, regroup, and make up our new daily schedule. And instead of a lot of lost time and lost hours, we're going to be more efficient this way. So yes, it's been actually absolutely everything that we needed and that we wanted to get out of just meeting with Tanner today. So we're very blessed.